I'm Alex Roberts.
I'm Jared Miller.
And it's time to dangle, snipe, and stampede.
It's gone!
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Dangle, Snipe, and Stampede. I'm Alex Roberts.
And I'm Jared Miller.
And with us again is Aidan Glockner for the first time this semester. How you doing?
Good. Every time I hear the intro, I love how long the Stampede goes. I was listening to it there. It's just
yeah.
You're not gonna have a short Stampede.
Yeah,
well, no. I mean that's the highlight of your title.
Yeah, no,
not
that
even
is the
silly.
highlight,
It's Dangle, Snipe, and Stampede.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you came up with that.
Yes, I did.
And then
Very proud of myself.
It was one of you who sent me like the most.
That was me.
That was
Jared.
Jared.
That was me.
That was
like most.
I know.
Like,
We don't have to talk about
the
that.
most like Google Slides looking. I was talking about the.
Oh yeah, no,
thumbnail
that was
concept.
definitely Jared.
Was
that was
that
definitely you.
Okay.
No, I sent you that really ugly drawing. That was me.
Of the Buff logo, yeah,
that was bad.
Maybe
We're
it
not
was you. One of you sent me. It just said
I don't do
Dangle,
anything
Snipe,
online.
Stampede, and had like a little fire emoji. I was like, yes, I'll make that better. Maybe we can find it.
Yeah, who knows?
There
Who
you go.
knows?
Here's my weekly suggestion of what to
great.
put up. There you go.
Anyways, big weekend. All three teams were in action. Only one of them was home, the D1 men's hockey team. Of course, probably the biggest series of the year so far against the University of Oklahoma, right neck and neck with each other. Identical conference records, one spot away from each other in the rankings. Like, could not get more tight than that. And well, they split again. Can't seem to win both in a weekend. The only time they've won both was the opening weekend of the season against San Diego State, who ironically is their next opponent.
I really thought they had a chance, honestly, this weekend.
I did
mean,
too.
Because we obviously dominated so much in game one.
They looked so good
on Friday. They looked so not so much better than Oklahoma. Oklahoma played well.
They looked
but
comfortable.
They looked comfortable, and they just looked more dominant that game than Oklahoma. They were just they like controlled play the entire time, and so I was like, obviously Oklahoma is going to be coming into Saturday night's game looking to win it. But I thought we should have tried harder.
I don't even think they played a bad game Saturday. I think it
No,
was just
no,
a couple
it- well,
bounces
just
didn't go their
really
way.
their way. We were talking. It was just a lot of little things that kind of worked up against them. But like other than that, they did play mostly fine Saturday's
Yeah,
game.
no, they had that 2-on-1 shot that went off the post, like the loudest post ping hit you'll ever hear in your entire life. And then of course
Oklahoma's or us?
Yeah, Oklahoma.
Yes, on Friday.
And then of course the no goal from Glass at the end of the second.
Yeah.
But I said in my article, like, that was the turning point of the game. If they were going to get back in the game, that one had to count.
I think that
Because it's 3-1, and
Yeah,
you go to the
well,
third period,
I
and you're
think
down
that-
2,
I think
and they
that-
had enough.
post is even more underrated because that was at the end of the first. It's also 3-0 at that point. So if you make it 3-1 before the first ends, that's honestly a completely different hockey game for the next 40 minutes.
Well, and then you see in the second game, the first goal of the game goes to the guy who hits the post, Nate Payne, and he just snipes it off.
Well, I mean,
he's from the post.
Literally their leading point scorer.
Yeah.
So
no, I think both of us thought that shot was tipped. It was not. I thought it was
first
the first
goal
one. The
in
first
the
one on the
second
power
game?
play. Yeah, in the second game, the one on the power play.
No,
I thought
I
that
was
one.
sitting next. I wasn't talking. I was sitting next to you guys because I didn't have a voice. But
yeah, how's your voice? Is it
it's a
better?
lot better.
There you go.
Yes. But it looked like it went straight and just
Yeah.
through traffic. I didn't see any movement. of
I
the
thought
puck.
it had a little deflection. Guess not. And
Either way, 1-0, and then kind of didn't look back from there. I guess Borgie did tie it, and then it kind of got.
It just was little things that ended up getting out of hand.
and they felt like they were
really
playing
what
on
it
their
was.
back foot a lot more in that game.
Absolutely, that was the biggest thing. Is we were talking so much about that about their use of physicality to keep the play going on Friday night. That's exactly what it was. Is they just didn't have that continued pressure that honestly just kept going all throughout Friday night. They were just able to basically roll the whole game, and yeah, that just wasn't there Saturday night for. I'm sure Oklahoma obviously has something to do with that. They respond.
Well,
they
and
saw
I
what
think
worked, what didn't work
their
Friday
goaltender
night.
played much better.
Different goaltender. Well, you know what? Actually,
same
most of our
goaltender.
goaltenders, most of our goals were on Culbertson Bond. So yeah, he played a lot better. Their team played a lot better. They adapted well, and we played marginally less better. And
You
that's
lose
what
by
happens.
3.
Yeah, that's what happens. And but
My question-
three, honestly, I thought it felt closer.
Yeah.
No, than the final 5-2 score.
Well, the empty net part of that, I think.
Well, just
but
like
also on
the
that
first game did.
that shorthanded chance when you already scored one shorthanded goal, and then you had a second chance like a minute later with
DiMizio.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would have loved to see him
If
put
that
that
went
one
in and it was 4-3 with like 2 minutes left in the penalties ending, I'm like, oh boy, like this is actually like right there.
Mm-hmm, there's a
But
chance, and then
That's probably the biggest save of the weekend for either goaltender.
Yes.
That save right there. on
Yeah, that
DiMizio.
was huge. I also just think, but like I don't like they split, and it's obviously not great. I guess Oklahoma jumped Colorado again in the standings, which does not make. I don't get how computers work if with the rankings and all of that. It just doesn't make sense when like 4-0 in one game, 5-2 in the next, and you get jumped. It's like whatever. It's not the biggest deal.
Yeah, I guess it is score. I just do agree with you in that.
It's just
I mean,
it
I
doesn't
think
make the most
I think we
sense.
outplayed them more than they outplayed us.
But yeah,
and
but at the
if
end
you're
of the
gonna go for something, maybe move us up both one. But
at the end of the day, you gotta. It's 6 games left that really count, and that like you can still control that destiny kind of into that spot in nationals. But I don't think it like because after the game I talked to the head coach Trace Jablin.
Yeah,
well,
Trace.
and he kind of said he had like guys in the locker room crying after the game, but like the season wasn't over.
no,
Like it's still right there, and it's just like get back to work, and then six games left that you kind of just got to take care of business. If you win all 6, I think you're in.
it's
Yes. I think that is a given.
It's the Ted Lasso bit, like memory of a goldfish.
Yeah.
I think they did. I mean, we were talking about it, Alex, on the broadcast. I think they absolutely understood the magnitude of this weekend, and from what you've said, it hit them. But yeah,
Even last week,
goldfish
Levin
memory.
saying they do check the standings
Yep.
or rankings
Yeah, we
every
mentioned that.
Wednesday.
I'm pretty sure they're
So-
not happy with it today.
Probably.
I'm pretty sure they're not happy.
I
They're
was
gonna be hungry this week.
I was a bit irritated.
Yeah, I want to look for them to. SDSU's not in the top 25. They're not in our conference yet. I want them to look like they did
have-
that first weekend. Just go out.
They have
no
to win
nonsense.
both. Like it's not really. I don't
Yeah.
think there's.
Effectively, yeah.
I think they have to.
Not a
win
question.
both.
You have to win both.
Also, Alex,
Yeah. Sorry, just against if inferior team and one that you already beat twice. Although improved from last year, it's like that's still a team you just got to go beat twice and go from there because they're ranked 49th in the country. It's like they're not terrible, but you do have to win.
Team number 23, you have to
And
win
especially
that, if you're looking
because
for
now you're fighting against Oklahoma to get in, but you also are fighting against auto bids that we saw
Yep.
with teams lower in the standings.
I mean, Oswego State just clinched an auto bid, and they're placed at 33 or something like that.
Yeah, so you're fighting against that. You're fighting against Oklahoma, and then you're fighting against a couple of those last teams that you need to drop out.
Iowa State.
Missouri
Missouri State to a degree.
Nah, I don't think Missouri State's in
they're not
danger.
gonna
They're
drop out.
18, so I don't think they're in too much danger. But there's a couple teams there that you got to be like, you got to pass them
Delaware.
and fight with Oklahoma.
Yes,
20.
Delaware.
And
Delaware
that's
bumped
who's
up a little
20.
bit.
So, I mean, like, you got to win these games because, like, Oklahoma's playing Alabama, who's 63rd in the country, or down there.
Yeah,
Like,
you're right.
they're not. Oklahoma's probably going to win both, so that means you probably got to stay on par with them. And who knows how the rankings work. If you play a team that's 14 spots above the other one, like, and you win both, they win both, maybe you jump them again,
Yeah,
and then you just got
perhaps
to
you
worry
get more
about the next
preference.
4 games and winning those and hoping just to jump a team because. I'm assuming some of those teams are in the top 25 are going to play each other, knock each other down a little bit. We'll see. I don't know. Still a lot of hockey left, but
yeah, you're right.
you're
There's
kind of watching now.
there's 6 games left, but they have to really just approach it with,
Let's win this one,
Exactly. Win one,
and then let's win that one.
on to the next. Win one, suddenly you've won 2. Win one, okay, we've won 3. Win, and so on and so forth.
I mean, a win streak starts at 1.
Exactly.
That's true. At anything, we'll say, W1, and then you get 2, 3, 4. I was gonna say, Alex, I went and looked at that that first Payne goal, and it wasn't touched at all. Just solid. It was there were
There's a lot of bodies in front.
Yeah, there are about 2 mid-range players, one Oklahoma, one CU, and then 2 or 3 right in front of Server, and it caught him under the arm above the blocker right side and just went right past him and in.
I'll get to your win streak point in just a second. I do have a question for you guys. Do you think putting Matt Server in for the second game was the right decision?
Yes.
Both of you are.
My answer is yeah. I had to think about it.
I didn't think it I didn't have a problem with it at all.
No.
Like, I was like, why are we doing that?
Why
are they doing that?
In retrospect, maybe you go for a Gwen. You give Server a rest, and I wrote about this. They've been having a really good tandem all season. I mean, they've just been
now
flip,
it's
flop,
11 games for Server, 10 for Gwen.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. So I was thinking about it, and I was like, I mean, he got the shutout the night before. He looked good the night before. It's like, might as well just ride the hot hand and.
That's what my thoughts were.
I totally
ride the
understand
hot
why they
goalie, and he really did look really good Friday night.
And I don't think he looked bad on Saturday night either. I think it was just Oklahoma found a way to put a couple past him.
A couple unfortunate. So I think it was the right decision, honestly. Could you have easily swapped that out and put O'Gwen in? Yeah. And then we could be saying, should we have started Server twice in a row?
I don't think I would have doubted. Like I would have been like, whatever. Either way.
Like, either decision, I think it totally fine.
Which
decision.
I wrote about.
Yeah, I didn't think that was a bad
decision. I
just want to get you guys'
the confidence of having 2 goalies is.
It can be big, when you have a reliable
rotation,
especially in this scenario where it's not like O'Gwen's the starter and Server's the backup, or Server's the starter. Exactly, it's
1A, 1B.
We were talking about it's the Ullmark Swayman situation, or at the the Varlamov Sorokin. Like you just have 2 good goalies that you can turn to,
like the Vanacek Daw situation.
Maybe not. That one,
no, not
as
that one.
much.
Okay.
What about?
You know what? You can keep dreaming.
What about Mrazek and Soderblom?
I was gonna say it can't get worse, but it might have just got worse.
It can get worse. I'm sorry. It can really get worse.
Yeah. No,
no disrespect to them. They put pit Mrazek up against me, who has never played goalie. Pit Mrazek up against Jared. There you go. You've played goalie.
Wasn't very good at it. Actually, I was.
You still
it was
played
just
it.
A very
you
low
played
level.
it more than me. So
Anyways, I think it's important. You're right. Going back all the way to your win streak comment, they only have a 2-game win streak, and that was to start the year. They have not been able to, or they actually had 2. Excuse me. They won the second game against Oregon and then won the first game against Oklahoma. Those are their only win streaks of the season. They started 4-1, and since then, after that, they went on a 4-game losing streak.
Oh, we're looking like this season's Buffalo Sabres.
And then after that, it's 1-1s, win-loss until you get to UCO, and then you get back into win-loss. They need to find a way to be able to get a win streak going, because for me, the biggest reason why I think that they're still stuck here at 23, it's great that they're in this position right now, but the reason that they're stuck here and they have hovered around 23 the last 2 weekends is because they split with Missouri State and Oklahoma. I really think that that's why, and because they won the first game and didn't really show up. They did not show up for that second game against Missouri State. You said 6-0.
They did a little. They showed up a little late.
They showed up at the end. They showed up at the end. You're right.
Bit too
They
late.
showed up at the end, but it was a little too late.
Yeah, it's tough to win down 6-0.
Exactly.
That's very
I think
tough.
having
Maybe
a
if the refs
stronger
just didn't
start,
show up.
have a stronger start in the second game or in the game that you don't win. Because I think that's what the problem they've had so far.
It's just a lack of it's not a lack of consistency actually, because they're very consistent in taking the one game. But you just want that. You do want that consistent
polar
winning,
opposite from last season, where they felt like they were allergic to splitting.
Yeah, they would win, lose. No matter what. I don't have the exact schedule right on hand, but it was basically win, loss.
Yeah, there were
win,
only
loss,
two.
loss.
There were only 2 series last year where they had a split, and that was the first series against CSU and then the home series against Oklahoma last year.
Yep.
That was it.
Yep. When we did the.
I almost asked what games those were, and I was there. I called.
Yeah.
But I was like, when did they play Oklahoma? Yeah, no, that was a very silly thing.
Yeah.
Also,
that first one was fun.
4 game shutout, or 4 games in a row against Oklahoma have ended in shutouts until Saturday night.
Yep, 4 in a row.
Because it went back to last season,
Yep,
and
that
then
one
the
nothing
first 3
game.
this season. I'm glad it wasn't the same thing on Saturday. You can only get so many shutouts in a row, right? Come on.
Well, they scored first, and I was like, oh no.
That's it.
Are we not?
Might have
scoring?
also had the. I also might have had that thought.
But yeah, I didn't say anything, but I was looking at it. I was like, oh man.
Well,
you know.
this trend continues. It's not going
yeah.
to be a fun game.
Great. But then we did score, and I was like, okay, shutouts off. Let's go. All bets are off. And
Can I say?
And then we lost.
I love that Borgie hit the dab after scoring the game tying goal. That was hilarious.
Did he? I didn't see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
didn't
Did
see
you
that?
not see that?
No,
Yeah, he hit the
I didn't
dab.
see that at all.
Yeah,
Really?
He scored and he just hit the dab.
No,
Go
you gotta go
on.
watch
I'll go
that. I don't
find
know if
that.
it was on the stream, but like
the tying goal,
the first goal, yeah.
first goal, Borgie scored. I'll find it. You keep.
It's like
going
3
on.
minutes to go in the first.
Yeah, I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, no, that was hilarious.
You don't see that one very often.
I was like, bro, he threw it back to Super Cam.
I was like, oh man.
That was awesome. And then, of course, he single-handedly brings the team back in it after, scoring the shorthanded goal.
I mean, that was all on him the second night. Yeah.
So,
No one else really got anything else.
but the rest of the team,
I mean, that
they
was
looked,
a
they
perfect
looked
pass
out
off
of
pad.
it. Yeah, they looked kind of out of it up until that point.
Sorry, I just wow, that's so he gets the shot right there, and then bam, right. It's right before he goes off camera as it swipes to say Colorado goal. That's fantastic. Love that. So that's we get one weekend, we get Shitter Blake Blevins. Next weekend, we get Dab Mark Borgie. What do we get in San Diego this weekend?
God.
What happens this weekend in San Diego?
Are they playing on? Do they still have Black?
I think
Dog?
SDSU still on Black Dog.
Dang it.
I think so. Hang on.
Gotta pay to watch that now.
Yeah.
Oh man, no, that's a. I'm
Let's see.
watching this again. This is great.
Let's see.
It was
Damn.
awesome. Because I thought I saw it at first, but I was like, I'm not just gonna say that, but like, I think I saw what I saw. And
I
was
didn't see it at all. I was messing
Interesting.
with some of the
Yeah.
production stuff right after a goal happened. Didn't see that.
They're
man, that's
good. They are very much on Black Dog.
Like, dang.
And it's like really not many other teams are on. Like Alabama's on there. The only WCHL team on there is GCU.
We need to.
NAU is actually on there, so that'll be next
they'll
year.
be in next year. Yeah, we gotta get SDS. We gotta fly over to SDSU and be like, hey, look what we do. You should do this too. so we
Well,
can watch
and
your
then
games.
Oklahoma was on Black Dog until this year, where they started doing it on their YouTube, which is fantastic.
That's what I thought. I thought that.
Yeah, they were on
Okay.
Black Dog.
Yeah.
They're on YouTube now, which I think is great because
It's
everyone now can watch it.
yeah. It's what. Yeah. So I mean,
So we'll see. I
I'll
mean,
see. We'll see if I watch those
You
games
did
this
that
year.
last year, and you said it was like the worst hockey game you had ever watched.
No, it was just like the camera. No, it was like a 9-6 game. How can I say that? It was just the camera angle was in the corner, so like you couldn't see the opposite side of the ice. But like maybe that's changed.
Yeah.
But it ended like 9-6. Like it was very exciting.
Okay.
It's just I only saw like none of the goals because they're on the other side of the ice. But
That's true.
it's fine. I'll watch probably
That's all right.
this weekend. Anyways, that's what they just gotta win this
Yeah.
weekend. I think that's the big thing, and then go from. I think it's a week by week basis. It's like go from there, just one weekend after the other, game
One
by
game
game.
at a time. You got 6 left before nationals go out. You get 2 weekends after that, just kind of.
finish out the season strong.
And if
I mean,
you
they're
end up
against
going to
Oregon
nationals,
and
it's-
UNLV.
and if you end up going to the nationals, it's a good warm up, and it's a good way to practice against Oregon
Especially
at
Las
home.
Vegas.
Send off
I
those
think.
players who are playing their last game at the rec center.
Yep.
And then get a real test and taste of what nationals would be like on the road in Las Vegas against the Rebels.
Who beat UCO this weekend?
I
They
saw
split with
that.
them.
They did.
Well, okay,
They still
But
beat- they
still,
won
it's
a
the,
game, though.
it's the only team to beat UCO now.
Dang. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well-
I was just thinking senior night's going to be crazy this year because we've Trunko's going to be leaving, Borgie's
Borgie.
going to be leaving,
I actually
not Pearson, not McConaughey,
Server?
Shenek,
Okay. Yeah, I think
Shenek,
so.
I think.
I mean,
Server,
granted,
think.
they could.
Yeah.
It's also you do have
Farrow.
that 5th year.
Farrow.
Gold.
There
I
is
see
that
us
extra
listed
eligibility
seniors.
as well, so
Yeah.
it's all up in the air.
That's true,
honestly.
but I figure some of them.
I know,
Foy,
probably.
Foy,
Foy.
Bunting, and Blevins are all listed as seniors.
So some mainstays that may or may not
Blevins
be
isn't
leaving.
though. We talked to him last week.
Yeah.
Junior.
Yeah. I don't know. That's what I have listed on my sheet here.
Huh.
I don't know. I don't think.
We'll figure it out next
Yeah,
week.
I mean, it'll still
Only
still
time
be,
will tell.
it'll-
Time will
not
tell.
next week, in a couple weeks. But
Yeah.
they all just, I mean,
The good thing-
6 games to go.
The
And
good
I'm
thing
excited.
is that they still will have they'll have Marcin Kevicius, they'll
Yes.
have
Pearson.
Brody Pearson, not Pearson.
Pearson.
Pearson, Wood. They'll have McConaughey for one more year. They'll have Kenny back. They'll have Kate and Gosdell are both graduating, I think, and Ferguson also is listed as senior.
I mean,
So
I
their
think
defense going to take a hit,
Yeah.
but
we'll see.
we'll see. I think that makes it that much more important to make it to nationals this year for all the seniors.
Absolutely. I mean, you guys don't have
and
to
all
worry
the
about it.
and all the the prospective seniors, because we don't know who's going to stay for like a 5th year, who's going to go to graduate school. But just in case it is all these guys last year, you want to let them get a trip to St. Louis.
Yes. I mean, the last one was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
I mean,
I still haven't graduated.
I was about to say that's been like since you started here.
All
so
right. Almost since I started here.
I mean, that's like ancient times.
You're old.
6 years ago. It was 6 years ago. 2018. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, you're old.
See, I started high school that year. So
All right, let's move on.
He doesn't want to talk about it anymore.
next topic.
I'm 22 years old. There's nothing wrong with that.
Hey, I mean, we can start going into the whole Bo Nix thing where he was like 23 and everyone was saying he was like the oldest guy going into the draft and whatnot.
No, there's that one guy from Miami who's going to his like 9th year of eligibility.
Oh yeah,
Like, what,
I saw that.
I mean,
You could do that.
no, like I really don't want
No?
to. I think I'll pass on that one.
Don't want to show up next year. Be like, I'm back, guys.
I mean, we'll see.
Oh,
That's up in the air. Depends if I get a job or not after college.
okay.
That's actually fair. We got future Jared plans.
Well, moving on, the D2 team's going to wrap up their season this weekend, at least the regular season. They get Wyoming and Colorado State at home. So, I mean, good way to end the year. They're in position to get the 3 seed in the BMHC if they win both. I think if they lose against CSU, they'll have the 4 seed and have. So, I mean, it's interesting. Also, senior night is against Colorado State. That's
Yes.
huge.
Yeah.
You want that to be a win.
Saturday night.
Yeah, probably
You do.
will
It should
try
at least be a
their best.
good game.
I would hope.
The last game was pretty good.
I would think so.
The last game at home was
It
pretty
was,
good.
and this is also their last. I know home game, last game of the semester.
Depends. No, they got the BMHC.
well, they do
playoff.
have the playoff.
Got it.
So it
So at least last home
it
game.
depends on what happens with them this week if they get the 3 or the 4 seed. It looks like from now you told me that the hockey rink has a reservation for the D2 team to play
Yeah, on
at
the
home
9th.
next Friday if they get a home playoff game.
Okay.
And
I think it's just scheduled off, so there's nothing else is scheduled at
Yeah,
that
you
time.
don't have to get rid of anything.
So I think that means that the playoff format just stays the same as it was last year, except now instead of having 6 teams, they have 5 teams. So instead of 2 first-round
Yep.
games, it's just the one
Yep.
between 4 and 5. And if they lose against CSU, it'll probably be us being 4. and we'll
Oh,
play
I didn't even
Wyoming.
think about it that way. Yeah, that makes sense actually.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it that way.
So instead of the 3 seed having a home playoff game, they'll instead just have to play on the road against number 2, which will be Denver. Metro State's 1, Denver's 2. That's already set
Yeah,
in stone.
you got a tough road. That's a tough road.
And then
Hey, they're close though.
us and CSU,
That's true. At
Either
least
3
you
or
don't got to go
4.
too far.
No, they're kind of really right down the highway.
and then Wyoming is at 5. They're 0-10 in conference play.
Wyoming's
Well,
Wyoming is impressive. They're an impressive team. I'll say that.
It's good because like you play if Colorado or the D2 team plays Wyoming Friday night before that CSU game. Maybe you pick up some momentum from that Friday night. Hopefully you take care of business against Wyoming fairly easily.
Yeah.
And then you go on to
that's
play
the
that.
goal.
Then you play that game against Colorado State, and who knows what happens. But maybe there is some momentum. And I mean, obviously last weekend didn't go great. Going 0-3 on the Utah road trip, but
After going 1-3 in the
Yeah,
pre-semester
Classic,
tournament classic. Yeah.
But I mean, season's not over. That's the good thing about a playoff, where you kind of
Crazier things have happened.
You kind of get to determine your fate a little bit more per se than the D1 team who doesn't really get that
Yeah, they don't get the
playoff
benefit of the
opportunity,
doubt.
Yeah.
which also would be a miserable tournament to go through because of the teams in your conference.
It's
But
true. But it would be such an exciting tournament
it
because
would be
of
very fun.
every team being in the top 30. It would be, I mean, you could see ASU's currently at the bottom. They very well could go on and make a run.
Anything
But, you
can
know,
happen.
obviously we
But-
won't know that.
Yeah, so that's why it's like they get to pick up some momentum, hopefully Friday night and then go into Saturday night, and then you got the playoffs and go from there and
Yep.
see what happens.
They're probably going to have to get an auto bid to get to regionals.
Yes.
That's the only way they're going to have to win the conference. So and that means if they end up getting the 4 seed, they will have to not only beat Wyoming, which that's pretty much a given that they have to, then they'd have to play against the
true.
Roadrunners the next day in Westminster
Which
and
is-
try and win that
that's-
game.
That's
And that's a
difficult.
tough ask. So
That's tough.
even though they haven't played well against Denver on the road, they definitely looked much better against the Pios.
Yeah.
That is what you want.
Yeah.
If you want any shot, and then just pray that Colorado State finds a way to beat Metro State so you can get a face-off against the
Or
Rams.
you got to win against Metro State. You
That,
got,
that too. That
The
too.
alternative
you
is
got to
you
beat
just
the best to
win,
be
yeah.
the best.
That's
true.
true.
Well, is that Ric Flair? Ric Flair says that. You got to
Yeah.
beat the best to be the best.
I mean, you're saying about building momentum, and I don't think it has to be an exact score as the Idaho State game.
No.
But I think it has to be maybe a little bit similar. You know, Wyoming is, I don't remember their exact stats, but they're
bad.
They're bad. They're not good. Their like goal differential is down.
It
The
is.
tank. It's nothing. And I'm just looking at the roster for the D2 team here. Simpson leads the team with 12 goals. Petonas leads the team with 11 assists and also 18 points. And Petonas also leads the team in points per game at .86. So this Wyoming game coming up before the CSU game is perhaps just an opportunity for some of those top players on that team, Petonas, Simpson, Levkis, Neffs, Sadiq, etc. to, I mean, you say build momentum, looking for confidence, looking for momentum. Just score some goals and up those numbers, and then go into CSU on a high note.
Wyoming has won 3 games all year. They
That's
beat
bad.
Idaho State 14-3.
Hey, we beat them what, 14-1?
14-1. The other 2 wins were against Park University. They beat them 9-5 and 9-2. That's it. That's it. That is it.
Park University.
I have
right now.
no idea
I'm
what
glad
Park
you did, 'cause I have
University
no clue
is.
what that is either. Yeah.
Absolutely, it's in Parkville, Missouri. If this is the same.
They're like yellow and red.
Oh, yellow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So they're in Missouri, Parkville, Missouri. I don't even know. Where in
And
Missouri
funnily
that-
enough,
oh,
Park,
okay.
yeah, Park played Colorado State the next day after they lost to Wyoming twice and lost 14-2. So that's a bad school. They have beaten up on some. If you think Wyoming's bad, there are some schools like that are horrendous, and that is who they beat up on. That is it. They've lost every other game this year. They lost to Western Washington, Washington State in overtime, got shut out by EWU, Eastern Washington.
I got that.
Okay.
I thank you for that. I was thinking. My mind went to olive oil. EVU, extra virgin olive oil.
EWU, Idaho, they lost to. They've looked terrible. And the Buffs beat them 7-2 and 8-1 on the road earlier this season, all the way
Yes.
back in September.
Yeah,
So this should be
those
a
were their
win, a big win.
third and fourth games of the season. To be fair,
Mhm.
but yeah, I mean they beat them by 5 and they beat them by 7.
The only conference games Colorado's won is the 2 against Wyoming, and they beat Colorado State. Same thing with CSU. 2 wins against Wyoming, a win against Colorado. And their third game against Wyoming was canceled. So they have 1 fewer game played than us in the conference. So that's that game on the 3rd on Saturday is going to decide whether or not they play at home against Wyoming before playing Metro State, or if they just go out to play Denver.
I mean, yeah, they've literally just looking at the schedule and the scores. I mean, they kind of squandered what could have been a decent season.
I agree.
Like absolutely. There's a number of results in here that I think absolutely could have been different. The East Texas Baptist.
Both of
those two games.
Should have got that first game to overtime.
Yeah. 2-0 and 1-0. Those are easy for the taking. I think they absolutely could have done better there. I think
That
they
Cali
probably.
road trip.
I was about to say the Cali road trip. I think they could have done a little bit better.
The UCLA win was great, but
Yes.
they probably should have beat Loyola Marymount losing 7-6. They probably
Yes.
should have won that scoring 6
Yeah,
goals.
and I don't remember how the game went, but I think they definitely probably could have beaten Northridge as well. That
Oh,
was
I
that
bet.
was only 5-3.
Yeah.
And then just since then they've had a lot of. I mean, here's a 5-4 game they won over Grand Canyon, but here's 6-3 they lost to Northern Arizona, 4-2 they lost to Texas A&M. They beat Colorado State 2-1. That was in December. But 7-4 loss to CSU in like a week ago. 3-2 to Utah Valley. 5-2 to Utah State. I'm now looking at 9-3 Weber State. That's not a great score.
Yeah, no,
But,
Weber State is
Weber State.
But Weber State is a good school though.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
are very good. They're going to be they're fighting with Metro State up at the top of the West region. Same thing with Utah State. They're up there.
So just a number of opportunities in the season.
To not only get wins but wins against good teams. They had an opportunity
Yes.
to pull themselves out of the first semester hole with the BMHC Classic
Yeah.
against some of those good teams
And
like
they
NAU
they
and Boise
definitely
State.
tried. Obviously, they got the overtime win 5-4 over Grand Canyon.
Mhm.
But it just again and again and again, number of games that either they should have won or had a chance to win, or
And again, they
or
haven't been
could have
completely
won.
blown out of the water super often.
no,
this
a
year.
lot of their games have been decently
The only teams
close.
that have really blown them out have been Weber State and Metro State. Those are the only two teams that I think have really blown them out of the water, and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, they lost 4-0 against Texas, but then again, Texas beat Metro State the next day.
Yep.
Other than that, they're not losing by 4 or 5 goals. Game
No,
in, game
so-
out.
so
They're
a
losing
lot-
by 2.
A lot of
One or
close
two.
margins and a lot of close opportunity throughout the season that just kind of got thrown away, really. But like you've said, they've got the opportunity to turn that all around here in the last couple games of the season.
So 2 games.
Speaking of turning seasons around,
The other team out here has done a great job at doing that.
I mean, yeah.
The women's team, I'm really impressed.
I mean, we were
First
ragging
road
on
wins
them
of the year.
at
this
the end
year.
of last semester. They're
Well,
they need to
yeah.
turn
Well,
stuff
we
around
also
really quick.
said that they had the best opportunity.
That's
as
true.
Well.
That's true.
And they took advantage of that, and now
They've won their last 4
second in the
conference games.
conference.
Well, they won the 2 GCU games. That was big. At the end of last semester.
Yep.
And then
They lost against Minnesota this past weekend twice. But those are not
Did they
conference
lose both
games.
games?
Yeah, 4-1
Yeah.
and 3-2. But those were their first true. They'd only one true road game prior to this weekend. They got swept out by Jamestown and McKendree, 2 of the better teams in the division. So that's not super surprising. They shouldn't beat themselves up about that. But the only other road game that they played in conference was against Denver, and they were up 2-0 and lost. They fixed those woes this time against Colorado State. They won 5-2 in both games.
Yeah, and they're now a point behind of Colorado State and tied with Denver at the moment in their conference.
They're second place with the win percentage, with the conference win
With
percentage.
win percentage, yeah.
They
I'm
are
just
5
looking
and
at
3.
I'm looking at straight points. They're just tied at 12 with Denver, a point behind
Those
13.
points really don't mean anything. Do they?
CSU.
Not really, because you look at Denver. Denver played pretty well to start. You said Denver played well to start the season. They beat CSU. They beat Montana State twice. They beat Air Force twice. But they really haven't done much outside of the bottom of the division.
Yes, I mean now the women's team jumped up to second place.
Yep.
One, that's huge because you're pretty much locked into the postseason now in Utah. And 2, if you get second place going into the tournament, you don't have to play Arizona State.
don't-
and that's
Until the
big-
championship.
Until the
But
championship,
you don't
if
have
you
to
make
immediately
it
play Arizona State, which is good because you look at the 6 teams in the conference and they're miles ahead of anyone else.
there. They're very good.
Yeah,
Absolutely miles ahead of anyone else. Especially, I'm sorry, Grand Canyon, but I'm looking at Grand Canyon right now, and
It's odd. 'cause
Not as
that was
great.
the-
Well,
that was the
GCU, if they
championship
want-
last year.
If GCU wants to stay in, they're
Yeah.
going to have to beat ASU once because those are their only 2 games left.
now wouldn't that be something? They just lost to them last year, and make it in via beating them now.
Be interesting. But after playing really poorly for the majority of the entire season, we thought they were totally out of it after they lost 3 of 4 out here in Colorado against the Buffs and the Rams. They had a tie against the Rams, but that's it. We thought it was over for them. Then they come out and win 2 against Denver, and all of a sudden, Denver's now sitting at 2-6. Colorado State's 2-6, 1-1 with an OT loss and a tie, and now GCU's 3-7 and a tie. So like they have, I got to look at the win percentage on exactly how that's going to work out, but they're now in a position to win. But now at this point, they're going to have to hope that Denver and Colorado State lose the rest of the games.
Which Colorado gets to play Colorado State again in a couple weeks.
Yep, 2 weeks from now.
So I mean, there's
massive opportunity for
Mm-hmm.
literally just it's their entire future for the season is literally in their hands.
You really just gotta hope. Like when you make that postseason, you really gotta hope Arizona State just has a very, very bad day. Like they just struggle. Because I know this past weekend, I think they played Utah.
Yep.
And they smoked them the first game shots wise. I think it was a closer score than the
They won 3-0.
But then the second game was 3-2. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
anything
catch 'em
can
off an off
happen.
day.
Things do happen,
Yes.
And like if you're in, there's a chance. Like that's really the thing. If you make the postseason, there's always a chance. Slim, I would say, just based on how dominant Arizona State looks and really is. But like Colorado did have a close game against Arizona State at home here.
Yeah, that 2-0 game.
That 2-0 game. It was Arizona State probably controlled the majority of it, but I mean, your goalie plays well. You keep it close. You get a 1 or 2 past them early. Who knows what happens? So I mean, they really did turn the season around because like at first, the beginning of the last semester, you're like, oh, this is a tough start.
Yeah, it wasn't looking good.
And it's like, well, they do have the best opportunity with how the playoffs work in the WWCHL, and they took advantage of that, and now sitting in second place right behind Arizona State. So
There's something I do want to mention. There's a new player on this team, and she made an absolutely amazing impact to start. In her first 2 games, Georgia Franco scores twice in her first game with the Buffs.
Really?
Scores twice. They're down 2-1 in the second period, scores to tie the game, and then scores early in the third to give them a 4-2 lead. In the second game, she assists on a power play goal scored by Rowan Nasty to get the Buffs a 2-1 lead. So, and then she assisted on a goal from Jordan Bonk early in the third to give the Buffs a 4-2 lead.
Okay.
4-point weekend.
Okay.
This is going to be cool. I'm excited to see her
there-
win.
If there's now someone who's a decent, play creator,
Fuseli is now up to 8
facilitator
goals.
on the ice, that could be really big because that was basically their biggest issue is they just really weren't scoring.
Yeah,
and
so,
they were playing all right, they just couldn't get it in the net, and that was really the issue.
so I think it's great because now Bonk had 2 on the weekend, scored 1 in both games. Ewald scored 1 in both games. Fuseli had a 2-goal game in the second day.
Okay.
So, like,
I mean,
They're-
maybe it's turned around then though.
I know.
I
They-
hadn't.
it
What did
looks-
you say your name was? I hadn't heard about it.
Georgia Franco.
Georgia Franco.
that,
I'd been
that jumps up to
too
5th
busy
on
with
the
other
team in
stuff.
score, or tied for 5th on the team in points.
Already.
Yeah.
All right.
So I mean, that's a huge help.
And just 2 games.
2 points per game.
Yeah.
2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points in 2 games.
I mean,
In the 2 CSU games, and they won.
That
both
was
of
it.
those.
That was it.
I mean, think about
Those
it.
were our first games of the year.
All right.
Last season, where it seemed the Browns really emerged was when Sydney Brown wasn't playing because she was
Yep.
that top player.
Yes.
And when she wasn't playing, the team just kind of struggled with offense. If the Buffs are able to find that player that can really drive the offense, they have the supporting cast. It feels like they have
Yes.
defense, they have goaltending. If they could just have that one extra piece on offense, that could help kind of push things a little faster, make no mistakes, get the puck into the net a little bit off, set up teammates. I mean, that could be a huge difference, just as you already see in those 2 wins against Colorado State, but also just having that extra kind of player who's able to push the pace and really help you out a little more.
Yep.
So that could be a huge help moving forward in this season.
I mean,
and
yeah.
really change the trajectory of it.
Maybe
overall.
we'd make a magical run to final
I mean,
to
you
win.
win the WWCHL, you go to nationals.
Yep.
So hey, maybe there's a run there. That could be a big piece though. Honestly, yeah, I'd been honestly too busy with doing stuff for the D1 team the past like 2 weeks, so I didn't hear about that. But
I'm actually really glad you said that.
No,
I did not know that.
That's
I'm
really
starting to
good.
get excited for those last couple games
No, that could
at
be
home
that
here to
could be
see what
interesting.
she's made of because first they get Utah this weekend and they can pretty much cement themselves as number 2 if they win both of those games right now. That could be done, set in stone. They're the number 2 seed in the WWCHL if they win these 2 games against Utah. Then if they end up beating, and then after that it's Wyoming at home. 2 games they're gonna dominate. I'd love to. You sure hope.
I sure hope.
You sure hope. So I want to see
getting ragged
what's
on
up with that.
all podcasts. Oh man, Wyoming can't catch a break.
No,
I know. I'm sorry, Wyoming, but they're just they're not.
Hey, at least they won the border war against Colorado State in basketball.
Hey, that's true. We got a CSU loss. Well, I mean, hey, we didn't beat CSU in basketball.
Their other big rival did.
Yeah. So at least they did. At least they did something. We didn't do it, but
Yeah.
all
So
Anything else?
that's kind of all the biggest, latest news. You guys got any final comments?
I'm excited for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And to hopefully go out on a high note.
I mean, yeah, we've kind of reached a point where basically all 3 of our teams have the ability to, keep going after the regular season and, like I said, control their own destiny. So, I mean, yeah, I'm with you, Jared. I'm excited. I think it always means more when the games mean more.
Yeah.
That's true.
And it's more fun.
And it makes it more fun, and it makes it more fun for the players. It makes it more intense in the games, and because they want to win more. And I think it'll make the conclusion to all 3 of their seasons a lot better, even if it doesn't amount to anything.
Yeah, it should be an entertaining watch. We're into the last month of the season. The only home games this weekend are the D2 team wrapping up their regular season schedule against Wyoming on Friday and Colorado State on Saturday. Both games will be at the Rec Center and start at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. You don't want to miss it. Live streams are right here on Scope of Sports. That'll do it for this episode of Dangle, Snipe, and Stampede. For Jared Miller, Aidan Glockner, I'm Alex Roberts. Thank you for listening in, and you heard it here first on Scope of Sports.